Conversation with Anthony Carlo and Benzino the Hero. WICR Sports.
Today in sports, the Dallas Cowboys lost to the Washington Redskins 20-17 last night in overtime. Kai Forbath nailed a 40-yard field goal with 9:43 left in overtime to give the Redskins the victory. Tony Romo, who missed some of the second half due to injury, threw for 209 yards and 1 TD. Dallas drops to 6-2. They did have the best record in the NFL, not anymore, while Washington moves to 3-5. In the NHL last night, the New York Rangers defeated the Minnesota Wild 5-4. Shout out to Pete Considori. Entering the third period, the Rangers trailed 3-0, but then their offense came alive, and they scored all 5 of their goals. Center Derek Brassard had 1 goal and 2 assists. The Edmonton Oilers topped the Montreal Canadiens 3-0. The Oilers got a one goal in each period. The Devils are playing tonight. The San Francisco Giants look to capture their 3rd World Series championship in the last 5 years. They face off against the Kansas City Royals in Game 6 tonight at 8 p.m. They do have a chance to take that one home if they win tonight. That'll be aired on Fox. The NBA regular season gets underway tonight with 3 games. The New Orleans Pelicans host the Orlando Magic at 8 p.m. and the Spurs, playing right now, have their championship banner raising. They raised that a little bit earlier at 8 p.m. The game against Dallas Mavericks, and the final game of the night is the Houston Rockets visiting the Los Angeles Lakers, set to tip off at 10:30 p.m. And of course, for Iona Athletics, the men's and women's soccer teams are both in action tomorrow, both squaring off against Fairfield. Stay tuned for the rest of AB Conversation along with Ian Sachs on the WICR Radiothon.
AB Conversation, we at it. Now we're going to talk about the Eastern Conference of the NBA. And when you mention the Eastern Conference, you have to mention the move of a certain player back home. And that move is LeBron James back to Cleveland.
Who?
LeBron. You know LeBron? He used to play for Cleveland. Then he went to Miami, won some championships, and now he's back home.
Never heard of him.
Really? Wow. He wore number 6 in this former team. And then wore 23 in Cleveland. Now he's back in Cleveland, wore 23 again. Amazing.
Interesting.
Now this LeBron guy.
I have to look him up, you know?
You want to look him up? All right, this dude LeBron James is arguably the best player in the NBA.
Arguably.
Well, who?
Yes.
Well, I know one thing is straight, and I know that Jersey Joe Archino is so tuning in right now. He wants to know what we're going to say about his beloved LeBron James. I'm a big Jersey Joe fan, and I am a big LeBron fan. I will admit that. Let me get something straight here. LeBron James decides to take off, win a couple of championships, then he decides to come back to the team that it all began with, the team that last year finished 33-49.
Yeeks.
Now, I can't really, it wouldn't be fair for me to relate this to, let's say, a Derek Jeter, type of situation, or anyone else, because the fact is Derek Jeter came up on a team that was on the verge of having success. The Cavaliers weren't really ever in that spot as long as LeBron was there. Agreed?
Agreed.
So the fact that he left, you have to cut him a little slack that the guy wanted to win a championship. That being said, I don't know if I love the whole situation that he was able to leave so freely and go win his championships and then come back. To me, if he makes that choice to leave the team because he wants to be on a winning team, I know I'm going to get shot for saying this. Stay away.
Bang, bang.
Continue the rest of your career on those winning teams, but don't play the hot hand. Don't do that. Don't play the team that you think is going to be the team to carry you to a championship. Play the team that you want to live and die for. Derek Jeter started his career as a New York Yankee. He ended his career as a New York Yankee. Poor example because Jeter came up into a winning franchise, but that's what I had to say about that.
Another thing you have to look at, though, the New York Yankees have the biggest payroll in all of sports, and their resources are unlimited. if you look at the amount of talent that Brian Cashman and the Yankees front office brings in every year, they should be competing for a World Series championship every year. The people that LeBron James had on his team in Cleveland,
Daniel
So
Marshall.
without LeBron, they would win like 15 games a year. And you saw that by the first year without LeBron. So I think you have to look at the markets.
The business, say it, Ian. The business aspect of it. Just say it.
Right.
You have to look at the business aspect of it. The business aspect is not living and dying with the team.
Right. But I think that LeBron saw that there was no way that they were bringing in blue chip free agents for him to play with. He saw that wasn't happening.
Listen to me. I understand. I understand what you're saying. You don't think that the owner was doing anything to help incorporate a supporting cast to help him win a championship.
Right. So why should he stay there?
Well, you know what? What I'm arguing is the fact. I'm not arguing the fact that he left, Ian. If you heard me a couple seconds ago, I said it's fine. It's fine for him to go ahead and leave.
You don't like him coming. You don't like him coming.
I don't
back?
like him coming
Crazy.
back.
Okay.
I don't like him choosing to leave for a championship and then coming back because now he figures he could come back home. He's got his rings. The Cavs go out and get Kevin Love. They're all set to win a championship. And they're in a better spot to win it than Miami this year. And all of a sudden, he comes on home. And now all these commercials are airing. All these commercials about him and looking in the refrigerator when he was little. And there was no food in the refrigerator. And he rose up from nothing. And he became a success. You know what? If he stayed a Cav his life and never left the Cavs, run those commercials. But if you leave and play the hot hand, I'm sorry.
Shout out to LeBron. That's the best player in the league. He can do what he wants to.
But they got Kevin Love after he came back.
Well, the only reason
They
Kevin
did
Love's there because of LeBron.
Yeah,
obviously,
that's true. That's true. Okay, I'll give you that.
Right.
You're right. That's true.
If it was where they got Kevin Love and then LeBron was like, oh, now I can come back, then it would be a different story. Like the way that Wade and Bosch signed in Miami
First.
the day before LeBron went there.
That's true. It's still not taken away from the fact that he came back after he won his rings.
I don't care about all that, but LeBron, I just care about the basketball aspect of it. And we mentioned the business aspect. LeBron has signed a 2-year deal, $45 million, but has an option on the first year, which is unheard of for a caliber player like LeBron. So he's saying, just sign me to 1 year's deals every year so we can acquire more players. We can sign Kyrie Irving to his 4-year, $90 million contract. And with the LeBron thing, the equipment travels with LeBron. If you're on a show, the mic guy's going to come in, the stage guy, the special effects, James Jones, Mike Miller, and you're going to add Sean Marion. Players that veterans that want to have a ring.
Ben, they're in a team to they're in a spot to go to the finals. I'm sorry. They're in a spot. They have the potential to go to the finals.
The potential, I think it's a lock. I think the only team that can compete with them in the Eastern Conference is the Bulls, and I don't trust the Bulls. I take the Cavs in a 7-game series against the Bulls any day of the week.
That's because the Bulls fell in the postseason last year, and that's because they couldn't be trusted. But you also have to remember D Rose is hopefully going to be healthy this year.
He was doing well, as in health-wise, in the USA basketball this year, and Tom Thibodeau was one of the coaches, so he saw Derrick Rose throughout the whole entire summer. He knows where he at for the season.
But okay, so the Bulls. Let's say Derrick Rose is 100% healthy.
Right. Let's say that.
You gonna kill?
Can we really assume that after all the injuries?
Who else do the Bulls have? Joakim Noah?
Pau Gasol. They just acquired. Pau Gasol is a nice aspect that they didn't have before.
Would you take Kevin Love versus Pau Gasol?
Would you take the backup of Tristan Thompson or Taj Gibson?
Don't forget Dougie McBuckets.
Doug McDermott.
Dougie McBuckets
From Creighton.
You forget about Dougie McBuckets?
And Jimmy Butler's development as a player.
Three-point shooter. I'm not disagreeing with Ian, just to be clear here. I think that the Cavs will finish in first in that division at least. I'm not talking about the overall scheme. I think they'll finish ahead of Chicago. But the Pacers are dropping a third.
No, they ain't dropping a third.
You think they're dropping lower?
They're dropping lower.
Who's getting getting on top of them.
Talk to me. Can we just talk about the Pacers first? Because if Roy Hibbert, David West is injured right now. George Hill's injured.
Stevenson's gone.
C.J. Watson injured. Stevenson is gone.
Stevenson was one of their best players last year.
Paul George, we all know, is out with that big injury. So if you're relying on Roy Hibbert as your main option, and this guy's not even getting rebounds in the postseason, and you're 7'2",
yeah,
that's a problem. And Frank Vogel got this contract extension, so it's on Frank Vogel.
There's a lot of controversy circulating around the whole Roy Hibbert, Paul George situation last year. Many different rumors going around. There were some rumors that and
then they took a fishing trip in the postseason to help salvage the season. There
was rumors that Roy Hibbert's wife was actually cheating on him with Paul George.
And Paul George had some other controversy with an exotic dancer and whatnot, but we're not going to get into that.
They were a team of troubles because they spent all regular season focusing on how to beat the Heat, and they forgot how to beat other teams, and the Heat still beat them out
and
when
they
it was
beat
all said and
themselves.
done.
Yep, they beat themselves with everything. We talked about Lance Stephenson going to the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets are back. They're not in New Orleans anymore. They're in the Hornets. Back in the 90s, that Hornet colorway was crazy. And now their stadium has the honeycombs as a Hornet. And the big reason the Charlotte Bobcats, formerly known, made the playoffs last year, now the Charlotte Hornets, because of Al Jefferson. Averaging 20 and 10 a game. Al Jefferson is the vocal part of the offense. And the acquisition of Lance Stephenson teaming up with Kemba Walker.
You guys feeling a big three?
They're the cornerstone of the franchise, these three players. Kemba Walker and Lance Stephenson have chemistry because they're both New York ballers. Kemba went to Rice. Lance Stephenson went to Lincoln.
Right.
So they all have that.
Yeah. I think there's potential there for a big season from all three of them.
I'm just not buying into Charlotte. I think they're too young. I think maybe they'll do what they did last year, but I don't see them really progressing from that.
So 8th seed, 9th seed, or 8th seed, 7th seed. That range.
Yeah, I give them in the 6 to 8 range.
Respectable.
I think they're going to do better than last year. Their record was 43-38 last year, and they lost to Miami in the first round. I think they're going to do better. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to have a better. I think they'll improve. Maybe 3 wins in the win column. Maybe they'll be, 47.
That's impressive.
47 wins, and I think they'll improve some wins.
All right. Well, Pete's giving us the 9 9 minutes on it.
Let's talk this talk, man. Detroit Pistons have found a new head coach, and Stan Van Gundy. Stan Van Gundy was out of the league for a couple years. This used to be the coach of the Orlando Magic that brought Dwight Howard to the championship. Now the question is with Stan Van. Would he develop the young center Andre Drummond as he developed Dwight Howard?
I think so. I'm a big Stan Van Gundy fan. I think he is going to move this Pistons organization forward, and with a cornerstone of Andre Drummond, they could make some noise moving into the playoff scene.
I don't know. They're going. Listen, 29-53. One player is not going to make them 15 games better. In order to contend for the playoffs, they got to be 10 to 15 games better,
right,
than they were. One player is going to. I mean, they added DJ Augustine.
DJ Augustine was killing.
But you can't rely. I mean, look at the Rockets. The Rockets have Dwight Howard, and the Rockets that 1-2 combination between Dwight Howard and I'm losing the other guy. James Harden. But they can't always make it as far as they want to go because they rely largely, now without Chandler Parsons, it's going to be worse, but they rely largely on 2 guys.
But
Drummond and Augustine is not Howard and
Harden. Most definitely.
No. Yeah. But the Rockets are in the Western Conference.
Yeah, the Rockets got
the Western Conference where the 9 seed finished with 50 wins.
Right.
The 9th place team in the Western Conference finished last year with 50 wins.
Right.
The 7th place team in the Eastern Conference was 500. Mm-hmm. So there's no way that you can compare the Western Conference with the Eastern Conference.
Also, with the Pistons, they have Greg Monroe, another center. I want to see what they do with that because You can get value for Greg Monroe. Greg Monroe is no scrub.
Oh, definitely.
And I want to see what they do with Josh Smith. This guy's supposed to 6'8", and all he does is shoot the ball. When you're 6'8", you can drive on people. And Brandon Jennings' play is huge. He did add 15 pounds over the offseason.
Right. Yeah.
Another Eastern Conference team, Toronto. They did make the playoffs. Kyle Lowry with a huge a huge year for the team, averaging 17 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds. And Kyle Lowry's a sparky player. Plus, the year of DeMar DeRozan having an All-Star appearance, that's good for the franchise. And they added Louis Williams. Louis Williams is perfect for that bench. Grievous Vasquez offense, and adding Louis Williams plus a big guy like Tyler Hansbrough that'll rough it up.
Big fan of Jonas Valanciunas.
That's your boy.
Big fan of Jonas Valanciunas. I think the guy is hard-nosed. I think he plays hard. I think he's got great size, obviously, for the position he plays. But I think he's real aggressive in the paint, and I think he really can become an elite center in this league.
And he's got a great name, Valanciunas.
Valanciunas. Listen, and another thing about Toronto is their fan base is insane. The fan base is insane. I once heard somebody, you know what? It's escaping me who it was. It was a radio host talking about. It might have been Evan Roberts on the Beningo Roberts show. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But he said the loudest place that he's ever been in was a Toronto Raptors home court.
Debatable because I haven't been to Toronto. Debatable. Just saying. And Drake's at this Drake's running the team, so Drake has to watch his mouth. Over the offseason, he said, yo, KD, come to Toronto, see what's up. He gets fined $25,000. You can't do that when you're in that position. So it's going to be fun to watch what the Raptors do this year. Another team that made the playoffs was the Atlanta Hawks. Yes. Now, the Hawks are going with their old school 80s look in the 2014-2015 season, and that's going to be good with Paul Millsap. Paul Millsap signing with the Jazz. Signing from the Jazz last year, he proved to be that player because he was an all-star. And you want to hear something funny? Well, it's not funny. It's stupid in my opinion. Mike Scott, he's the 3, small forward. He has emojis tattooed on his body. So he was like, yeah,
that's stupid.
Yeah, I was up on emojis the first, so I should get more of them tatted on me. Like, bro, they're emojis.
You can't expect anything. The poop sign right here. Listen, with Panda Bear or whatever his name is, changing his name from Meta World Peace to Panda Lover.
Yeah,
Panda Lover. Yeah, if you got a guy playing in the NBA, changing his name from Ron Artest to Meta World Peace to Panda Lover, I expect anything. It doesn't surprise me that we have emoji tattoos.
It's crazy. And I hope his play does well. Another not so good team in my opinion will be the Orlando Magic, but I have to shout out the homie Alex Horvath. He has an article about the Orlando Magic on houndsports.com, and it's our Orlando Magic analysis. You can check up on that. Victor Oladipo, he's out there, their main player, so he'll be out for first month, but they did drafted Elfrid Payton and Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's a high-pace player. He's an energizer bunny, and Elfrid Payton, he has to work on his shot, but he can attack the rim. So that's what I got on the Magic.
Yeah, 23 wins last year. Hopefully, they'll make an improvement. I think they're going to be the same. I don't see any. I don't see any pop really from them.
Now the Wizards, the Washington Wizards, or the Washington.
Good team, real good.
The Washington Wizards.
Washington Wizards.
You know what? Yeah, John Wall and company. Bradley Beal's injured, but they signed Marcin Gortat to a lucrative deal over the offseason. 4-year, $50 million, something like that. So, and to play with Nene, 2 big men like that.
Nene, yeah.
2 trees in the paint, that's a problem.
Yeah. Two trees.
Yeah, the Wizards really surprised me last year. I didn't think they were going to be that good. Then even when they got in as the 5 seed, I didn't think they were going to do anything in the playoffs, make it all the way to the second round.
It's the backcourt. It's the dynamic backcourt.
It is, and I have to give it to them now this year. The big pickup, my boy Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce
going to the nation's capital.
Listen, Kim Kardashian's ex-husband, Chris Humphries. That's the big pickup, Ian. I'm just kidding around. Paul Pierce is the big pickup. I enjoy watching Chris Humphries. I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't watch the Kardashians.
On Keeping Up with the Kardashians?
I did not watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
That's my show.
But
I'm an avid Kardashian fan since day one.
I didn't watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
They were in Calabasas.
When it was on, Chris Humphries was interesting because he always looked clueless. He always looked clueless. And
that's my show.
I just can't believe he's an NBA player.
Wow.
I mean, not taking away from his skill, but just the way, I don't know. There's something about him.
Carries himself?
I don't know. That's a whole nother discussion for another day.
Yeah, and apparently we have 1 minute, so.
Oh, we got 1 minute? That's crazy.
Dwindling down here on the. You're listening to WICR's 3rd annual Halloween Radiothon. We have a full house in the control room. Shout out to Mike Demergis, our advisor here at WICR. We have the president in the house, Jersey Joe Archino. We have the ex-president in the house, Pete Consadori. We have Ken Reichman. We have Spring, the morning show hosts, and Chris back there. I don't know if I'm missing anybody. I can't see the rest. I'm probably missing somebody. Forgive me. But AB Conversation here. Ian Sachs joined us on this special occasion.
Daddy.
I guess they're stopping us, Ben. I guess they're kicking us off the air.
I want to hear AB
Is that what
Conversation.
they're doing? Are we being kicked off the air? I'm asking.
Well, we can go to break
kicking
regardless.
We'll take a break here on AB Conversation. Hopefully we will be back.
AB Conversation, word. To be continued. Halloween special. Ha ha. Shout out to the squad, GT and FSMP.